Well, hello, Aru. Oh, I am so excited. This is so wonderful for me to be here, to be talking to one of the funniest, the sweetest, the most adorable and talented ladies in all cabaret and all theater. Oh, I'm just wiggling all over because we're going to be talking to Christine Pedi. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've ever seen Forbidden Broadway, you've probably seen her there. Even if she wasn't on stage, her spirit would be on the stage of Forbidden Broadway. Plus, she's on Broadway now in that little show Talk Radio with that darling Liev Schreiber. Ooh. And she's going to be doing her own solo show at the Metropolitan Room on West 22nd Street. So we're going to hear all about this from the amazing, the delightful Christine Pedi. Christine, are you there? Hello.
Sure. Hi, I'm doing all that.
Yes, you're such a busy person. Was it always like this, or did it take time for you to get your career going and wait for the phone to ring and have weird people like me calling up?
I'm always waiting for the phone to ring. I never scan my calls. I'm always, and I don't have caller ID, so I'm always curious who's on the other end.
Well, that's the only way I got on interview, of course. If you'd seen it with me. Oh.
I know it. I know it's not always been this busy work-wise, but I've always been this busy looking for work, creating work, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. I think that's a misconception. People don't realize that to be a performer, you have to be a business person, and you have to have a highly functional mind when it comes to working at your desk.
Oh, dear. Well, that cancels me out. Is this your first time on Broadway?
No, I was in Little Me on Broadway with Martin Short.
Oh, my goodness. Is he as hysterical off stage as he is on?
He's a pretty funny guy. I mean, he's nobody's quite as zany as they appear on stage, but he likes to laugh.
Oh, good. Do you have any good Martin Short stories?
Oh,
or Martin Short stories. We can either way.
I don't know. I really. I just know that when we did Little Me, there was a revolving door, and he would run to the revolving door as one character. There'd be 5 lines on stage, and then he'd come back out as a different character. And this shift from one character to the other happened about, 3 or 4 times in the scene. And when he was inside the little, when he was behind the revolving door doing a real quick change,
yeah,
one of the chorus girls always used to flash him, but she'd always have something different on her boobs in the form of a pasty. One time it was credit cards, his credit cards actually. Another time it was birthday candles because it was his birthday. Any number of things that we could find backstage. That was a fun memory.
Oh, I can imagine. Well, I wish it were a chorus boy. That would have been much better. But it's still a wonderful story, isn't it?
Of course, boys don't wear pasties. So anyway, but
well, not up there. Woohoo! Yes, I'm sorry. Please continue.
No, that was the extent of that story. And he's a funny guy. He's just a funny man.
Well, is Liev Schreiber as funny? Somehow I doubt that.
Liev Schreiber is not as funny as Martin Short, but he is. He has really raised the bar as far as the level of excellence that I'll probably assume everyone in the theater is going to rise to. And I don't know if that's always going to be the case. I feel bad for the next cast that I have the pleasure of working with, because this cast, starting with Liev, but all the way down to the person with the fewest lines, is a thoroughly.
They would be hard pressed to match the folks that you're dealing with. I think
it is the loveliest cast, the funniest cast, the most supportive cast. We enjoy each other's company. We all get to the theater a half hour before half hour just so we can sit outside in the alleyway of the Longacre and drink our coffee. And I make cookies for the cast. That's my little.
Oh,
it's true. I show up with my little tins of cookies, and we really, really enjoy each other's company.
You're like the Amy Sedaris of talk radio. It's amazing. I love it.
Oh, yeah, she does that, too. And, Christine Lavin likes to bake. Funny women like to bake.
Do you know Christine? She's been a friend of Dave and a friend of the show. She's such a wonderful lady.
Living doll. I've been a fan of hers for 20 years, and the fact that I know her now is such a joy. And the fact that she is as lovely and charming and fun-loving and good-spirited and warm-hearted as you would expect from somebody who writes the songs she writes. She's just, and she's edgy and fun, and sarcastic, but in the
she's a total unbelievable sweetheart. I speak for Dave. I speak for myself. I speak for people I've never met. That's just me. It's a psychosis of mine. And
I love her. Well, she's a baker, though, and the reason I love, and we love the same things. Like she loves bread pudding. She has a recipe. She has a song that is a recipe to bread pudding set to music. And
I know she does these. It's either for Christmas or New Year's where she has this party and she bakes this big old thing. And Dave was invited at one point. I wasn't. I hold no hard feelings about that.
That's okay. It's a small apartment, I'm sure she has. So.
But anywho, back to you. This is all about you, Christine.
Yeah, let's make it about me. I'm going to be at the Metropolitan Room.
Now, what are you going to be doing at the Metropolitan Room?
It's a show called Great Dames, and it's just a mixture of some of the stuff I did over the years in Forbidden Broadway with some of the stuff I've created since then, as far as impressions go, and then just basically songs about or made famous by the great ladies of the stage and screen. They have a very strong female diva vibe to them.
Are you allowed to get away with doing serious stuff? Or when you do your cabaret, it's always got to either be really funny or light, if not ha-ha hilarious?
Well, I guess it depends. Every time I've done serious stuff, people have been very supportive and complimentary. I did a Condon and Green show, which had a few simple ballads in it that everyone seemed to really enjoy. And then people would come up to me and say, "You should really sing in your real voice. It's very beautiful, you know." And, I'd say, "Thank you for discovering that. Wow, I had no idea." It's that, people haven't had an opportunity to hear me sing in my real voice or sing straight, as it were. And
I've never done anything straight, but that's
I know.
Just
well,
me.
it takes a lot of concentration and years of practice, so I don't know if you're going to want to do that. But my goal in the future is to incorporate a little more of that into the show, because I know it'll be just as entertaining. However, in the case of this particular show, I decided to stick with what people are accustomed to because I'm going to be recording it for a CD.
Ooh, Wiggle, what label?
My own little label.
You have a label?
Well, I guess I do now. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just going to record it, and, if people want to buy it, they can.
These days, CDs are being phased out anyway. You might as well just do it straight as a download or something like that.
What do you mean they're being phased out?
What, in a very... Eventually, it's all going to be...
Oh, it's so cold and heartless, isn't it, the world?
Well, I felt that way about records.
There's nothing tactile about it anymore, but...
I know.
I don't like it. I like to get the artwork, and I like to get the packaging that the artist intended and stuff like that. So we'll see, but it doesn't matter. I'm recording it, so whether I sell it on a disc or whether I, sell it via a click of a mouse, it'll hopefully be accessible to people. And that is and I've never done a CD, so.
Oh my goodness, really?
Well, I've done the Forbidden Broadway CD,
right.
But I've never done a solo CD. So there will be, in this show, there will be many impressions and funny songs, good, show-stopping songs associated with, musicals, that are connected to great Broadway leading ladies.
Well, I should tell everybody, I guess I've forgotten to until this point, that you were a Drama Desk nominee for Forbidden Broadway. You won a Los Angeles Ovation Award for that. You won a MAC Award, which is the big old cabaret thing, for Judy and Liza Live. Which you were both, right? You were Judy and Liza?
No. Tommy Femia was Judy.
Tommy Femia, right.
Yeah.
Because I know on Dave's Gone By they had there was an impersonator of Carol Channing recently that he had on the program. That was very cool.
Richard Skipper?
Yes, of course, Richard Skipper. He was here. He was hilarious. He was
I've done Carol Channing many times in Forbidden Broadway.
Oh, my goodness. It's like you in the... Could you do that little line about money and fertilizer? I just love that.
Oh, money is like manure. It should be spread around, encouraging young things to grow.
Yes, it was something like that. Thank you. I can't go near Carol Channing without wanting her to do that. I don't know why. I can't go near anybody without wanting... My neighbors, I just say, please do the manure line. And they avoid me.
About
fertilizer.
Let's
Let's talk about, Did you mulch anybody when you had a role on The Sopranos, the big old TV series?
I myself was killed.
Oh.
I was not bumped off. I was in a car accident. And then for episodes and episodes, my character's husband could not defrost my ziti in the freezer.
That's what the ziti thing was about.
Yes, he could not defrost my ziti. He was in such deep mourning.
Now, did they show the car accident on TV when?
No, they didn't show nothing. The last thing they showed me was leaving the church ladies' luncheon with the centerpiece in my hand on my way to get my crown fixed at the dentist.
Well, no, because I was going to ask what it would be like to actually have to do your own death scene. That's something I can't even think
Dave,
about.
I look forward to the day when I can tell you what that's like. But at the moment, it's not. There's nothing looming on the horizon. No death scenes for me at the moment.
Well, thank goodness. And by the way, I'm not Dave. My name is Peter Fitzgerald.
Oh, Peter, that's right. Dave's. Where the hell is Dave? But anyway.
Hi, Christine. This is Dave Lefkowitz. How you doing? I'm just in the background here, having a wonderful time hearing your interview with Peter. So I'm around
and helping me deal with my feelings of abandonment. Thank you.
Well, okay. And then I'll ask you the childhood thing. What was? Did you have a good childhood growing up? Were your parents kind? Were they psychotic? How were they?
No, they beat me and locked me in the closet.
Hey, I'm just in the middle of reading a book about Warren Zevon that came out by his widow, even though they weren't married for a long time. And if I tell you his issues with his parents and the way he treated his kids, you wouldn't want to know anything you could tell me about your parents and your lifestyle is nothing compared to what is in the pages of this book I'm reading. So,
cow.
Yeah, you can't even imagine. So but you did have a normalish.
It was a perfectly fine suburbs of New York, suburban childhood. I didn't really do very much theater until I was in college. I was not really aware of the theater. My parents didn't really listen to music or the radio or anything, so I happened upon it through the movies and high school plays. And when I was in high school, I discovered what a musical was, and I discovered that my library had an amazing collection of cast recordings. It had My Fair Lady in about 7 languages.
Wow.
And, I only opted for the English language, but they had it in Russian and Hebrew and Spanish. It was unbelievable.
Oh, my favorite is the Urdu. It's an extra half hour because they throw in all these extra syllables, but it's so good.
How funny. Hi, this is Christine Pedi, and you are listening to Dave's Gone By on WGBB.
What was the first musical or play that you were in as a high schooler kind of a person?
I was in an all-girl production of Godspell.
Boring. No.
With Angela LaGreca. I don't know if you know Angela LaGreca.
Oh, she's a cabaret lady, too.
She's a comic and a cabaret performer. And then it was kind of boring, but it was the first. But then the first...
The boring part was it was just all girls. I mean, yawn.
And then the first big proper musical I did was for I went to an all-girls high school, which explained that.
Double yawn.
Yes, and but then the all-boys high school had mounted a production of Bye Bye Birdie, and I was in the chorus of that, and that was terribly exciting. And then a year or two later, I finally got a lead after being in the chorus. I finally got a lead in Hello, Dolly, and I didn't play Dolly. I played Irene Malloy.
Well, of course. I mean, what were you, 17? Of course you weren't Dolly.
I was like 15, actually.
Right. So.
And I was a soprano, and that's how, I studied soprano when I was in high school. I went to a singing teacher in the neighborhood. I paid her, I think, $6, and I'd go to her house every Sunday, and that's where my roots are musically. And then in college, I started doing community theater in Westchester, and I did a lot of community theater. I did Mac and Mabel. But I got leads. I got Mabel Norman and Mac and Mabel, Eva Perón, Audrey in Little Shop.
I didn't know that Eva Perón was in Mac and Mabel. Must have been a very small...
I did. As a matter of fact, I played Eva Perón in Evita at the Chappaqua Drama Group, and my Che Guevara was played by John Tracy Egan, Broadway's last Max Bialystock.
Oh, my God. Oh, I love these 6-degree things. Don't you, Dave? Yeah, I think they're kind of cool, Peter. Oh, boy. Oh, but tell me more. How were your parents when they realized that you were going to be trying to do this as a career and not just a student?
I think they were fine with it because it wasn't like I was making much more money, as an administrative assistant, which is what I was doing prior to, I had a real job after college, which I couldn't stand. And I was the arts editor of the radio station at Fordham University, so I got to see a lot of theater for free. And as a result, that really started to whet my appetite. And then after I graduated, I did all that community theater, and then I just wanted to do more of it. And after about 2 years of unhappiness, I just quit my job and decided to temp until I could get a job. But I didn't know anybody in the business. I didn't have one friend who was a professional performer. I just bought backstage, and I really learned from the bottom up, one miserable little step at a time. It was very difficult. My first big break was years later in the national non-equity tour of Forbidden Broadway.
So did you also try out for plays, or was it you really just going for musicals?
Anybody in a musical would like to be in a play, and anyone who says otherwise is probably lying to you, but they don't give musical theater performers very much opportunity to do that. There's discrimination, there's profiling, there's pigeonholing and compartmentalizing, and
I was pigeonholed one time. It hurt.
Look at talk radio. I'm working with Eric Bogosian and Robert Falls and Liev Schreiber, and these are all
play people,
leading lights in the straight non-musical theater. And I'm just very fortunate that Bob Falls, it didn't assume that I was going to break out into song every time I. You know what I mean? And that
so there's still that stereotype is still there, like the musical can only do musicals.
Of course it's still there. It exists in London as well. Not quite as much, but it does. And that's just the way it is. And it's frustrating. And there are a couple of people that swing back and forth. Deborah Monk does it. And, it can happen. But
Deborah Monk swings back and forth? Well, I'll have to talk to her husband. But
you ask her about that swinging she does. It's hard, but I'm very, very happy. I love not singing. I love to sing, and it's always going to be my sanctuary, and I'm happy to have that, as a skill, and it's my favorite medium, cabaret performing, which is why I really love it. It keeps you active, and it keeps you artistically gratified, even when you're not working, for money. You can still find a place to stand up on a stage and sing a song. However, it's lovely to also be functioning 8 times a week as a straight actress, and be taken seriously in that role.
I can barely function twice a week as a gay man, but I'm trying Viagra for that. Anywho, we are talking with the wonderful, the delightful Christine Pedi. Is it Pedi? How do you? Pedi. Christine Pedi. I'm a Pedi-file this evening.
I've never heard that before.
I'm sure. Well, I'm taking my pedicure as we speak. And we'll take a pedicab right over to you, because I want to also ask a few other things of you. First of all, you have this connection with the work of Gerard Alessandrini. You got that Forbidden Broadway break.
Sure.
And why was it kismet? Why is it magic?
I don't know. When I went to the audition, they asked me if I did any impressions, and I said, well, I do my Italian grandmother. I'd never done an impression of a celebrity in my life. And they said, can you do Carol Channing? And I said, well, anybody can do Carol Channing. So I did Carol Channing, and they asked me to do Merman and Patti LuPone, and I did. Now,
you had never, ever even thought of doing them before? You just stood up there?
Not seriously.
No. But you had...
seriously. I was more like just a storyteller who always used silly voices or tried to imitate people in her stories because it was just more effective that way. But I didn't think I'd become an impressionist. I thought they were very specially skilled people, and I certainly wasn't that. But after, what happens is, if you heard the impressions I did on that day, that first day, and you heard the same impressions, my impressions of those same performers now, the difference would be like night and day. And I just got better at it. I got quicker and better at figuring out how to do voices. And
is there a trick to it? Is there something that you can teach people, or do they have to have
I don't think so.
It's in the voice box. It's just one of those things.
I just don't think it's more in the ear, actually. I think, than even in the voice box. I really do, because there in a couple of instances, there's somebody who I haven't been doing very well. I know I can do, but I'm just not getting it. I'll hear somebody else do it,
and you'll find
and if I hear somebody else who does it really well, then I can in turn pick it up and sometimes do it better than theirs. But you have to find the specific mannerism in the voice, and sometimes you're just not figuring it out. And for instance, like Ellen DeGeneres, I can't figure out how to do, but I've heard somebody do her, and it got a little easier. And that's someone, if I actually wanted to do an Ellen DeGeneres, I don't know that I would listen to Ellen. I think I might check out other people's impressions of her.
Well, I mean, everybody does somebody else doing Cagney. That's just the way impressions sort of go along, especially for the lay person or layman, if
right.
We must get sexual about it. But can you do a little Ellen for us? Is there a way?
No, because it stinks.
Oh.
It just stinks.
My God. So is your best your Carol, or who's your best?
Well, Liza's just wonderful. Liza's terrific. She's probably one of my best. You know what I mean?
But
I also love doing Bernadette Peters because I think she's so cute when she talks. You know what I mean?
And Carol Channing's wonderful, and there are other people that I don't get to do very often.
Excuse me,
Betsy Davis.
I'm sorry, I'm having a heavenly moment here. I'm just tingling all over.
John Rivers, I love it too. John Rivers, please, can we talk?
Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm so excited. But I'm sure you've been asked this before, but what has happened when you've been doing these impressions and you've had in perhaps a gala evening and the person's there whom you are imitating?
The impression is not usually the issue. The issue is what the dialogue is that you're using and you're speaking whilst doing the impression.
Well, yes. I mean, Richard Skipper is when he was on the show, he made very, very clear, it's like he runs everything by Carol Channing to make sure that he's not saying anything remotely negative.
Well, I'm not a fan of raking people over the coals in general. I really don't like to do it. And so, I try to make fun of their life as opposed to them, things in their life that they themselves would probably find, ridiculous.
Because you're trying to go into their personality, not make fun of them.
Absolutely.
But make fun of the world the way they would.
Yeah, and I just don't. I mean, there are very few celebrities I don't like, and
except for that,
I'd probably be prone to make fun of the younger, goofier ones like Britney Spears. But I haven't gotten I haven't really spent a lot of time working up impressions of Celine Dion or Britney Spears or the pop people, because that means I have to listen to their songs and recordings, and I don't really want to.
I remember when I was trying to perfect my impersonation of Zazu Pitts, it never came together after years of watching her movies. I tried.
I love Zazu Pitts, and I have a picture of me in front of her star in the Hollywood Walk.
Oh my God! See, that was just another serendipitous moment. I'm so thrilled. Are you still on the radio?
I'm on Sirius Satellite Radio, Broadway's Best.
Ooh, well, when are you on, and how can people...
I'm on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 3, and Sundays from 6 p.m. to midnight.
And what do you do there?
I host Broadway's Best. It's the Broadway channel, and I host a program, and I play music from the theater, and sometimes do interviews.
Lovely. How is it there now that they're doing the merge thing and things seem getting fluff?
That goes on behind closed doors. I've never been very good at corporate gossip and water cooler conversation. I really stink at it. It's all above and beyond my comprehension, and usually not very connected to the quality of the programming. Usually it's just a separate motivating force behind all of that. So I let them take care of it, and
you just happily do your show on the thing.
Hopefully, when the dust settles and they come to a conclusion, they'll spend a lot more money on the Broadway channel. That
would be good, and they don't just make it 24 hours pre-recorded, just show tunes on a computer, because I'm afraid that's where everything's going these days. We need people. We need humans in front of microphones, or even people like me.
A lot of children listen to my program. A lot of children. And it's devastating to think that they might get rid of live DJs because, if you're going to hear Memory from Cats, over and over again, you could at least hear an interesting story.
Is there an interesting story about Cats?
Oh, there's always an interesting story.
One that you can tell children?
Or an idea, or a point of view, or a gentle jab. There's something. And the kids love it. Kids love this music. Love it. And I am so happy that there's an outlet for them. And when I was a kid and when you were a kid, there wasn't. You know, there was just very little available to us on a broadcast, in the broadcast realm, to listen to and to educate us. And these kids have this 24 hours of commercial-free music of the theater, plus commentary from two people, myself and Seth Rudetsky, who are active in the theater, in the theater community. You know, and we don't just, you know, audition for stuff. We actually go to the theater.
This is true.
Love the theater.
And by the way, we just love talking to you on this radio program. We are talking with Christine Pedi. We're going to have to let you go in a moment, but I do have one bit of career advice for you. For goodness sake, it's time to update your website, because I checked it, and your last blog was from 2005, and you were getting eye surgery. How did that go?
Oh, it went fine. I haven't blogged because I thought the blog mechanism was broken. I just found out from my webmaster it wasn't broken. There was a mechanism to call in blogs, and that was broken, but I didn't know. So I don't know if I might be too lazy to be a blogger. I'm not sure. But
well, you can do it more than once every 2 years. I think that's a fair.
Well, I actually didn't because I thought it was broken. But you're right. Okay.
Oh, I thought you went blind. That really scared me.
Oh my God! Well, that'll be the first entry in the second. That'll be the first line of the second entry. You know, 2 years later, it'll be, no, I haven't gone blind. But for those of you drama queens out there who thought that's why I haven't blogged.
Well, I hope you credit me for that joke, and I love that laugh. I'm going to excerpt that laugh and use this again and again on this program.
I love my laugh, and I hate when people turn around and look at me when I laugh. I just go, oh, screw you, who are you looking at? Shut up, it's funny. You know? You ever notice that people in theaters, when somebody's laughing too loudly, people turn around and look at them?
Oh, because that can be scary. That has happened when someone repeatedly laughs throughout a show that is kind of funny but not that funny, and you start turning around and like, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, that's maybe. But
that's like Max Cady in that film with, not Gregory Peck. Well, the remake was with Gregory. Cape Fear. When they go to the movies, and Cady's laughing behind them at everything.
But that I understand. However, when I laugh, it's always because it's brilliantly humorous.
Oh! Well, thank you so much.
I'm not one of those people. And
well,
whoever is staring and looking at me is clearly humor-free.
Well,
and he really ought to just, you know, just take a pill.
Well, we have taken a wonderful, wonderful, delightful pill here with I'm not that great at segues. I make good jokes, but bad segues, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody, go see Christine Pedi in talk radio up until June 24th is the final day, right?
And then please come. My website is ChristinePedi.com, P-E-D-I. And there's information on the Metropolitan Room. The show is called Great Dames. And if you come, you'll be part of a live recording.
Oh, goody. Oh, I'll be sure to come and do my laugh constantly, even in the serious songs.
Oh, dear.
You'll be staring at me, that's for sure. I'm kidding. I joke. Christine, it's just been a thrill. I thank you so much and wish you best of luck in your career, in your life, in your music, mazel, and everything.
Oh, I don't know what that means, but I think it's good, right?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay. That's a food, isn't it? No, that's matzo. It was great. Thank you.